Hello, everybody. I would like to. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I would like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Allison, could we please have a roll call?
Trustee Dornisberger? Here. Trustee Eck?
Here.
Trustee Farrell-Mayer? Here. Trustee Kennedy?
Present.
Trustee Metz?
Here.
Trustee O'Loughlin?
Here.
And of course, Mayor Hinshaw.
Here.
Full house.
Thank you. All right. Tonight we will be broadcasting on Comcast Channel 6, on our YouTube channel, and on Facebook. We have a link to the meeting on YouTube. Physical attendance is limited to 60% capacity unless you are vaccinated. You're not required to wear a mask unless you're not vaccinated. And we're doing this on the honor system. We are not taking comments during the meeting like we have in the last year. Any comments that needed to be read tonight needed to be sent in by 4:30. Of course, anybody here can say a comment, and then that's it. So if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, again, we have agendas up here. I think everybody's got one. We're at the mayor's report, first item on the agenda, and I would like to welcome Eileen and Charlie to their first in-person meeting. And it's been a year since we have all been here. I want to remind all the trustees to please use your microphone and speak clearly into that, because we are having a recording and we're broadcasting, and if you forget, we may remind you. All right, first up on the corona update, in Cook County, we have about 47% of the population fully vaccinated for COVID. And now anyone over 12 years old and older can get vaccinated. And I encourage everybody to get vaccinated. Tomorrow, Phase 5 guidelines will go into effect. So for businesses that everybody is vaccinated, the state will not require face coverings or social distancing for both indoor and outdoor activities. Anyone unvaccinated should wear a face covering and maintain 6 feet of social distance. I personally try to follow the 2 Ds, density and duration, for my social distancing. Okay, sidewalks is up next. There are 4 main areas of the village's sidewalk master plan. Acacia Drive, the new sidewalk, will be added this summer alongside the east side of the road. That Acacia Drive will be rebuilt. And a reminder that that is a construction zone all summer. Plainfield Road and Wolf Road are both in a Phase 1 study currently, and we are expecting to have alternatives for Wolf Road later this fall. And that will be a presentation that the community residents will have input. The engineers will go back, study that, and then come back about a year later. So Phase 1 is about 2 years, and we are about a year into that. And lastly, Joliet Road for sidewalks, we're in the process of exploring land acquisition. All right, 294 update. The northern half of the 294 nose wall between Joliet Road and Plainfield Road is in construction. The work this summer has involved work at night. The tollway has stated that some work that requires lanes or ramps to be closed must be performed in the off-peak hours. They have also stated that the nighttime pile driving work has been completed, at least for the southern portion. Some pile driving work will be starting tomorrow closer to Plainfield Road. The tollway construction will continue through the summer, And a reminder, please note the other half of the noise wall for the tollway will be done next summer. And then lastly, with 294, a new noise wall will be installed this summer along the 294 South on-ramp, which is close to Chestnut on the Green Association. Plainfield Road project. Tonight, the village board is discussing a resolution of opposition to the 5 lanes. Preparation is starting for the Plainfield Road Bridge over the 294, and that work is anticipated to be started this summer. And lastly, this board works very hard to be open and transparent. I encourage everyone to sign up on the village website to get posted on information that they would like to know about. You can get an email or text on things like meeting agendas, updates, and alerts. It is also a great idea to sign up for Smart 911. You can receive emergency updates and provide law enforcement officials information about you, your family, and your home. And we also encourage residents to get involved with volunteering on a committee or other activities. You can contact me or any village trustee or the village staff if you have an interest in getting involved. Part of being open and transparent is discussing all village business in the open at the village board meetings. So with that, we are on to public comments. If you'd like to make a comment, please come to the podium.
Can I ask a question, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Just Plainfield Road, the bridge, will that be shut down completely, or will it be done?
Plainfield Road, when they work on the bridge, will always be open. They will shut down a lane at a time or a part at a time, and they'll have a signal, but it will always be open.
Hi, I'm Debbie Campbell. I live on Pontiac Drive. I had the unfortunate experience of enduring excessive nighttime tollway construction last Thursday night. I've talked to both John and Tom Hinshaw about this. I spoke to Shannon Armstrong several times on Friday and Brian Wagner, and he's involved with I believe some of the more of the other situations with the tollway. And I talked to Jim Durkin's office extensively. What I was told at that time was that we would be discussing the excessive noise from the tollway construction, the nighttime noise at this meeting. But I'll also give you an update regarding that. I had a phone call from Shannon Armstrong on 6 p.m. Friday evening. I submitted a video which included bang, 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 which ran continuously for over 6 hours. And she responded back to me stating that the director of the corridor construction met with the actual persons or person doing the construction in our area. And the reason for the banging all night long was because the trucks were engaged in something called tailgating. And what that is in construction terms is that the dump trucks are being filled up and dumped repeatedly. And when they are dumped in such a fashion to get rid of the entire contents of the, oh, excuse me, is something wrong? No, I'm sorry. Oh. So in order to get rid of the entire contents of the dump truck, what it does is it folds back on itself and it goes bang, 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 bang. And this would happen every 2 to 5 minutes during the night. Shannon got to the bottom of it, and she did call me to confirm that they would no longer be doing this moving forward in their nighttime construction. Instead of doing Monday night construction, which they had on their roster, they completed everything on Friday evening. She told me she would let me know when things were going to switch in a different direction, and that would be in about 3 to 4 weeks. So I thanked her for her responsiveness and for getting to the bottom of the problem and for dealing with it so immediately. So I'm letting you know this too, and all the other people who may be concerned about the nighttime noise construction with the tollway. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. And I apologize, when I was out earlier, I didn't recognize you with your mask. Anybody else? Susan?
Hi, my name is Susan French, and I live at 6414 Pontiac Drive. And I just wanted to quickly address what you were talking about in transparency. So, the oldest homes in the village are on Pontiac Drive. My parents bought the lot in 1954 and moved in November 4th in 1957. It was a year before the tollway started building. But, so you have to think about, how old is my mom? She's 92. How old is the neighbor 2 doors down? She's 94. How old is the neighbor 1 more door down? She's 94. Transparency for a 94, a 92-year-olds is not looking something up on the internet. It is having maybe a letter sent to your home or someone actually coming to your door. These elderly people are not going to go and pursue things on the internet, and more than likely, they're not going to come to these meetings. So what you call transparency, I don't call transparency. We need to do something about how we communicate to our oldest residents. That's very important. I think we need to address that and maybe start a committee, like a communication committee, and I am willing to be a part of that committee. Thanks.
Thank you, Susan. Anybody else? Okay, I don't see any. Somebody like to make a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as established.
I'll second.
Thank you, Brenda and Sean. Any questions or comments about the consent agenda from the board? Chris, are you prepared for the financial report?
Sure. For the month ending May 2021, let me start with the cash on hand as of April 30th, 2021, $2.7 million. Total for all warrants in the month of May, $414,618. Total revenues for May, $359,000, with an ending balance as of May 31st of $2.7 million.
Okay, again, any other questions? I don't see any from the board. Clerk Allison, could we please have a roll call vote?
Trustee Dornisberger.
Yes.
Trustee Eck.
Yes.
Trustee Farrell Mayer.
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy.
Yes.
Trustee Metz.
Aye.
Trustee O'Loughlin.
Aye.
Thank you. That's passed.
Thank you. All right, next up, would somebody like to make a motion on a resolution opposing the expansion of Plainfield Road?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2-2021, a resolution opposing the expansion of Plainfield Road.
I'll second.
Is that Rita? Chris and Rita, thank you. John, do you want to give a brief overview?
This motion joins the Village of Western Springs and the West Central Municipal Conference in opposing the expansion of Plainfield Road to 5 lanes. Staff feels, and we recommend approval of the resolution, that it is adequate right now for Plainfield Road to be 1 lane in each direction with the possibility of a turn lane and pedestrian access on either side. So staff requests approval of this resolution. Once the board approves this, we will forward this to our county board representatives, the county board president, and our area representatives.
Thanks, John. I'll also add, for anybody who saw the presentation by the Cook County, that we did have a municipal objection in their slideshow. Charlie, did you have a comment?
I did. John, you'd indicated a sidewalk on either side, but not both sides. Is that correct?
Both sides is preferred because we like to have pedestrian access. However, they can squeeze it in without having to seize property. If they can do it within the confines of the existing right-of-way, great. Otherwise, no.
Thank you.
And the 5 lanes is just one option that everybody's considering. So this is the most intense and least desirable from staff's perspective.
I do have a question, because currently we do have a sidewalk on the south side of Plainfield, and then there's also a walkway going right through Timbers on the north side.
Thank you.
So why would they have to go and tear up that property to redo new sidewalks?
On the north side?
Well, there is a walkway going up straight through Timbers. It
Right.
is on the
I
other
think
side.
that if they wanted to do anything on the north side of Plainfield Road, they would have to do land acquisition, which would be eminent domain, and I don't see that happening. I do know that in our area on the south side, we would like to connect Wolf Road with a pathway to the bridge, which has always been in our plan, so.
So we're just looking for that one particular
Correct.
area?
I'm
Okay.
I'm more concerned about Indian Head Park than,
No, I totally understand. I'm just saying as far as just widening
understood.
either on other side.
And I agree with Brenda on that as well.
All right, other comments, questions? Clerk Allison, could we have another roll call vote, please?
Trustee Metz.
Aye.
Trustee Farrell Mayer.
Aye.
Trustee Dornersberger. Trustee Eck.
Aye.
Trustee Kennedy.
Aye.
And Trustee O'Loughlin.
Aye.
All right. That too is passed.
Thank you for that, Clerk Allison. Next item, the ordinance 2021-08 for establishing water rates.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2021-08, establishing water rates.
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris and Sean. John, do you want to explain this, please?
This is an ordinance that is basically increasing the water rate 7 cents a 1,000 gallons, which is the pass-through from the city of Countryside. There's no markup on our end. We have an increase in costs, and we're going to pass that on to the residents. The typical cost to a resident would be less than $5 a year. A family using 3,000 gallons a month will see a $2.50 annual increase. So we're just trying to keep up with keeping the budget stable.
Any questions?
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment. Although it's a small increase, it's an increase, and I understand we're doing it to just save our costs, but I would like to see something in the smoke signals explaining exactly what happened. I know there was a good memo that you sent out, John, that explains that in detail, and I'd like to see that for our residents to understand we're not making money on this.
Trustee Donnersberger, I agree, and we will put that in the next smoke signals.
Did I say anybody else? I will note in years past, when we had a rate increase, we would maybe mark it up to 8 cents, so another penny or something. As John said, it covers our costs for the water, but running a water system, unfortunately, we lose water. So we are not really covering the cost of the water. We're coming close, but that's kind of running the operation. And I personally would like it to be 8 cents or 9 cents or something, but again, this is board action. I just wanted to say that for the record. I believe that when going back when Brenda and I got on the board, the water system was in financial straits, and I think some of that thinking was happening even one year they didn't pass the increase along in a similar situation. So we still have a lot of work yet to be done in our water system, and it's millions of dollars. And I think we have a decent plan, but in no way do we have all that covered. So I personally don't think we have any slack, but I'm happy that the board is considering at least the 7 cents. All right, any other questions, comments? Clerk Allison, you're up again, please.
Trustee Metz.
Aye.
And Trustee Kennedy.
Aye.
Trustee Farrell Mayor. Aye. Trustee Eck.
Aye.
And Trustee Donnersberger.
Aye.
And Trustee O'Loughlin.
Aye.
Thank you.
And that has also passed. Thank you. Okay, moving along for the award of a bid for sanitary sewer cleaning and televising.
I make a motion to award the bid for sanitary sewer cleaning and televising in the amount not to exceed $22,000 to National Power and Rotting.
A second? Thank you, Sean and Rita. John, do you want to explain what we do, why we do it?
So, in the interest of good governance, we bid out projects that are over $10,000. And we estimated this project to be in the $45,000 range. So we bid out the project, we advertise for bids, we contact qualified companies, and they submit a bid to us. We received 5 bids for this project, ranging from the low bid by National Power Rotting of $22,000 to a high bid from Innovative Pipeline in Indiana of $265,000. Huge bid spread, and I rarely see bid spreads of this magnitude. But 3 of the firms, including National Power Rotting, are qualified bidders and actually have done work in the village, so they know what they're doing. So National Power Rotting has been with us before. They know our system. We've questioned them about the low bid. They stand by their bid. So we are fairly obligated because they are a qualified bidder of accepting their bid. So yay for us, we're saving some money. This means it's a capital project in the sewer system, so whatever money we save here that's below budget, we can use for system repairs, which is just a good thing. So staff recommends approval of the motion.
And John, why are we doing this work?
Well, we have to do repair work. It is a requirement of the Water Reclamation District to prevent groundwater from seeping into the sewer system, which would cause backup of the sanitary sewer system village-wide and downstream. So it's a requirement we have to do. It's also just good practice to maintain your sanitary sewers. So we will televise the system. We'll send a little camera down. It's actually kind of hypnotizing to watch the camera go through a sanitary sewer. It's kind of weird, but it's really hypnotizing. Then they'll also send in a cleaning device that will remove any roots from the sanitary sewer and identify needs for repairs. So it's a pretty neat project.
And so this is something MWRD requires
Makes every municipality to do.
And is it funded by the MWRD?
No, it's an unfunded mandate.
Thank you, John. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question. So who evaluated the proposals that came in? Was it staff or was it Thomas Engineering?
Thomas Engineering.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And they do the reference checks. Right. And
anybody else? All right, Clerk Allison, a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kennedy.
Aye.
Trustee Farrell Mayor.
Aye.
Trustee Metz.
Aye.
Trustee O'Loughlin.
Aye.
And Trustee Eck.
Aye.
And Trustee Donnersberger. Thank you. That has also passed.
All right, John, we are up to item 6, or D, excuse me, shed ordinance. Do you want to take this? Do we need a motion?
Motion, please.
Yeah. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2021-9, an ordinance regarding sheds as a special use, with the addition that no fees other than the direct mailing and publication costs are to be charged to residents that currently have sheds and need to submit a request for zoning permit. Further, in section 3, I have a shed in the buildable area for residents that are currently shed owners. The Zoning and Planning Committee will give great consideration to applications to granting a permit of the shed currently not in a buildable area, if accompanied with a letter from the adjacent homeowners that they do not object to the closeness of the existing shed.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Sean and Charlie. John, you want to recap?
So this is a result of at least a year's worth of committee work to ease the process, especially for the people in the Robert Bartlett subdivision, to accommodate sheds in that area. One of the things that we really want to do is reduce the overall impact of people who may have put up a shed not knowing that we had a shed ordinance, anti-shed ordinance, so to speak. So the normal process would be about $750 per application. What we want to do is we want to lump all the applications and do even though it's a series of cases individually, we want to accommodate the people and use economies of scale. So we're probably looking in the terms of $25 a house total for this to go through. So we're trying to meet the people and do some reasonableness in our fee schedule. So that is basically the recap of the fee structure. The village wants open spaces, and sheds are a special use, which means you have to come before planning and zoning and ultimately the village board to get a permit to put up a shed. And considerations are, are you on a slab house? Do you have a one-car garage? It's not merely for the convenience of the person, but is there a real need to have a shed? And this area seems to indicate that. So the ordinance gives planning and zoning guidance for making a recommendation to the village board. And we'll have this happen over the next year. We'll implement it. So.
Questions? Comments?
So the one item that I have a question with is the language for the consideration of the type of the house. Why should it matter what size of a house that you have if somebody wants to come in and have a shed on their property?
What point is that, Brenda?
It's point
Section 1.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, one of the issues that the Shed and Fence Committee looked at in planning and zoning was, is this mere convenience? Do I have a 5-car garage and I just fill it with stuff where I need a shed? I think any kind of land use such as this, because it is a special use, does require consideration for the need of the homeowner. And that's what we discussed with some of the residents in the Robert Bartlett subdivision and planning and zoning, and that was their recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be fairly reasonable, but they always have the ability, planning and zoning, to review the case and make a recommendation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm just not looking at Robert Bartlett area.
Right,
I'm
this
trying
is
to look-
village-wide.
Exactly,
Right.
and that's why I'm trying to, I didn't care for the language in there because, I've seen many of homes where they do have multiple cars, their garage is filled, and the 2-car garage might be smaller than normal, and they're not going to be bringing down a lawnmower into their basement if they
Right,
have
I
a
understand.
basement
So that's why
attached.
the Planning and Zoning Commission will be giving it consideration.
Okay.
So the shed has to be in the buildable area. Can you explain what the buildable area is?
The buildable area is the area that, normally we have a setback requirement, so your side yard has to be 5 or 10 feet from the lot line. So in the backyard, I think you have to have at least a 10-foot area line from your rear lot line that you can't put anything in. So it basically will prevent you from putting the shed on your property line adjacent to your neighbor's house.
Do we currently have sheds that are in,
I've heard, but not
outside of the buildable area?
Not that I've seen, not that I am aware of. I've heard possibly, but my review of photographs of the area say no.
I believe we do have
Okay.
some that are not in the buildable area.
So will they be required to move those now?
Or get permission to leave it in the buildable area
Through a variance.
through a variance.
Yeah, there are people that do have sheds in the non-buildable
Okay.
area, and this is just related to those that already exist. Any new sheds, regardless of where they're located, would need to conform to the regulation.
And I have heard that there are sheds in the non-buildable area. I just haven't been able to verify.
John, with the kind of everybody at once method, what if somebody misses that collection? You know, I got to believe we'll give 2 months or 4 months or some period for people to get together. But what if they miss that? What happens?
We'll try to be as kind as possible, but if they just blow us off, then they have to come and pay the standard fee for
And most of that fee is for mailing and
mailing and
Expenses.
staff costs. We have to do certified mailings. We have to publish a notice in the newspaper. There's a litany of items that staff has to do.
other questions, comments, concerns? You have on our sheet that it's not required we take a vote, but we can take a
Well,
vote,
it was,
right?
I didn't know if the board wanted to take a vote or not, so I put it on the agenda, so you have a motion before you, so a vote is required.
Or could table, if that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah, you could table it to the next scheduled meeting if you wanted to.
Not that we need to, I just asking.
Can I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
So I have seen some homeowners, they have 2 sheds on their property. Will they need to remove one of the sheds?
Yes.
Or is that going to be a consideration to keep both?
The ordinance, as it is, says 1 detached structure per single-family home.
Could they come seek a variance?
They could.
I would just ask that the vote be taken tonight. We've been through this with planning and zoning, the committees.
Your
and I
microphone.
think- I'm pushing it, there we go.
Have to push it once.
But I would like to take a vote tonight. I think we've been kicking this around long enough and spent a lot of time, and so is planning and zoning. And I think we've got the ordinance in a form that's acceptable. It includes all of the comments and suggestions.
All right, other comments or thoughts? And again, Sean had his addendum, right, to the,
No, he made the motion
oh,
with everything.
with it in it, yeah.
You're
Okay.
good to go.
Can you wait till the end for public comments? Any other? Okay, Clerk Allison, could we
Okay.
please have a roll call vote?
Trustee Kennedy.
Aye.
Trustee Eck.
Aye.
Trustee Donnersberg.
Aye.
Trustee Farrell Mayer.
Aye.
Trustee O'Loughlin.
Aye.
Trustee Metz.
Aye.
Thank you. That is passed.
All right, next item up is committee nominations for the Economic Development Committee. I would like to nominate Kate Boyle and James Marion to serve as members of the Economic Development Committee.
I second the motion.
I think you're accepting. So Eileen, a move to accept the mayor's nomination, right?
I move to accept your nomination.
And we need a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Charlie. Eileen, put you on the spot. Do you want to say anything about the new members that are
I
joining?
do. They're both highly qualified. They both have backgrounds, deep backgrounds and expertise in real estate. Jim in particular has a deep experience with commercial real estate, so I think they're going to bring a lot to our deliberations as we try to develop the triangle and bring in new businesses. So I feel really fortunate to have them on the committee.
Thank you. Any questions?
No.
Okay, Clerk Allison, another roll call vote, please.
Okay. All right, we are going to do Trustee Donnersberger first.
Aye.
Trustee Eck.
Aye.
Trustee Farrell Mayor,
Aye.
Trustee Kennedy,
Aye.
Trustee Metz,
Aye.
and Trustee O'Loughlin.
Aye.
All right.
All right,
Has
that's been
passed.
approved, thank you. All right, we're at the, near the end, reports. We are looking at trustees first. And the way we operate, we did it on Zoom, but we're going to go around the table. And Charlie, I will start with you. Do you have anything to report, sir?
No report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Rita?
Yes, I was glad to hear Ms. French mention that she'd be interested in the Communications Committee, because I do chair that, and it's been kind of dormant for a while. And I think your suggestions are well taken, and I will call a meeting of the committee, hopefully in the near future, and I will let you know. Thank you very much.
And I think Eileen had volunteered to be on that. Is that?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, good. Thank you, Rita. Brenda?
Yes, just want to give you an update for the movies in Black Hawk Park, Saturday, August 14th, and Saturday, September 25th. And as of right now, we will be doing it like we did in the past years. There'll be popcorn, cotton candy, grilling out, and side salads by C-Spar, along with the movie. And then also an update on the car show, which is going to be now September 19th, and more to come on that. But I also wanted to get a consensus from the board on your thoughts of being able for the businesses to be able to serve alcohol at the event. And if we did, we would need to amend our code for the special event, possibly next month or in August. So if you guys could maybe let me know, that would be greatly appreciated.
So Brenda's not seeking a vote, but she's seeking like a thumbs up or thumbs down. And if there's a consensus or enough thumbs up, we would bring that for a vote next month, if that's okay with the board.
I have a question. Burr Ridge has had in the past where they've had entertainment where people could, they weren't selling alcohol, but people could bring their own beverages. For the insurance that we might need, does it make a difference whether we sell it or we allow it to be brought to the event?
As long as the village doesn't sell alcohol, we just allow our restaurants and bar to sell. We don't need special insurance. We have liability insurance through our risk management agency, but this is a private venture, so.
But could I bring my own? I think
don't
that's
know.
what you were asking.
Oh, okay.
If that's the way you went.
Well, we're closing down the parking lot, and that's so we would, and the businesses, basically, there will be no driving in the parking lot during that time, so we would kind of want people to
I
be
see
able to
no
purchase
reason.
from the
Okay. No, I was,
businesses.
yeah, okay.
Are the restaurants going to be selling food at that as well?
Yes.
Yes.
So I think, you know, given the year that we've had and the impact on their businesses, I would be in support of that.
Charlie, how about if John looks into bringing your own for the next month meeting, if that's something we can do, but I guess John doesn't think there's a reason why not.
This really wasn't a recommendation. I was just asking for clarification
Okay.
on the insurance. I wasn't countering what Brenda was saying
okay.
in any stretch of the imagination.
Sorry for my misinterpretation. All right, other questions or comments on Brenda's idea? What about thumb up, thumb down to bring it next July, next meeting?
Yeah, definitely, and I think we should talk more about letting somebody bring their own. I think personally, I would be against that. I think we're possibly opening a can of worms that we don't need to deal with. You have one resident giving another resident a beverage and something happens. I'd rather, and to Rita's point, because of COVID, I'd rather support the local businesses, let them sell the alcohol than have residents giving it to each other. So just my own personal thought and opinion.
Right.
And again, I kind of twisted Charlie's words. Okay, Brenda, I think we got enough of a consensus to bring that forward for July for a vote and more discussion. We'll have some more clarification.
Okay.
Anything else, Brenda?
Yes, I want everybody to mark their calendar and to save the date for the upcoming blood drive. This is being held by the Indian Head Park Police Department, and that's going to be on July 2nd, 2021, between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. So if you need additional information, please reach out to Linda, and she can get you some more information, but that'll be held at the police department.
Is it in a jail cell?
I sure hope not.
Can it be?
Sounds fun, right? Anything else, Brenda?
No, that's it.
Thank you for your update. Chris?
No report. Thank you.
Sean?
No report, and I'm sure Andy's going to cover this, or actually I know Andy's going to cover it later, but I think we're going to have a special garbage paint and electronics at the Public Works this Saturday. So I know Andy will go into more detail, but just to let residents know that, like me, if you have paint cans in your basement for a decade plus, that this is the time to get rid of it at no cost.
And ice cream, right? And electronics.
I don't want to get
But
rid of
Andy
my
will
ice cream.
cover.
Why would I get rid of my ice cream?
All right. No, you can get ice cream. You're not getting rid of your ice cream. All right, Eileen?
We had a meeting last night of the Economic Development Committee, and we're moving forward. We have a couple of action items. We're going to meet again with the owners and try to talk with them about what we need to go in there. We have 2 proposals on the table from developers that I know the board has looked at, Planning and Zoning Commission has looked at, just cursory. They're coming again, both of these developers, to the July 6th meeting of Planning and Zoning with a more extensive application. So I would encourage everybody to attend that meeting or watch it on TV to learn more about these 2 developers that want to go in. Additionally, you mentioned the sidewalks in Acacia and the construction that's going on in Acacia. I know that all the trees and bushes will be replaced. Will the bushes also be replaced?
If they are removed, then they will be replaced.
Okay. And there'll be grass going in along the sidewalk. I'd like to ask the board to consider asking John to look in the budget for an additional up to $10,000 to provide additional landscaping for that sidewalk so that it softens the look of it and keeps the quality of our city and the natural resources, natural features of Indian Head Park, so make sure that we keep them. So I'd like to throw that on the table for the next meeting.
If anybody has any questions or comments about that, you can let me or John know over the next month. All right, thank you. Eileen, anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you. I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I've talked with Sean about this extensively, and September is Suicide Awareness Month, and I think the board would really like to see the village do something to acknowledge that and to get the word out. So one of the things that Sean has indicated is he's going to talk to the mental health commissioner here in Lyons Township to maybe do a table or something at the car show. I'd like to see a proclamation and maybe explore a few other things that we can be doing, because it's a real issue, and especially after the pandemic, there's a lot of mental health issues in the community, not just with kids, but with all of us. So we'll be looking into that.
What about at Movie in the Park? Would we want a table or something there if we could get it?
Yeah, yeah.
Brenda, is that something?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think there's a bad time to have this. I think we talked about it being at the car show because it coincided with the month of suicide awareness, but I'd be for any time we have an event to have something out there, because to your point, it's affected all of us. If it's not us personally, it's our loved ones. It's affected everybody. So yes, absolutely any event we have, but specifically we're trying to marriage a time during the event that we're going to have in September for the car show.
And the movie in the park is September 25th too, the one,
Okay.
so perfect timing.
Is that it? That's it. Clerk Allison, anything to report?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Village Treasurer is not here. Village Attorney Nick sitting in for Pat. Do you have anything to report?
Thank you very much. No request for closed session and no report tonight, sir.
Thank you. Village Administrator John?
We have a couple things coming up. Staff is preparing a community-wide survey. I'm seeking input from the village board. We will be publishing this online and making it available in print to the homeowners associations to get the word out. But look for that in the next month or so, and then we will be doing quarterly surveys after that of much smaller length. Just to give the board a heads up, Ron Vari, the owner of the Driftwood, has been notified that in the middle of next week, the pandemic rules regarding outdoor dining and drinking expire. And so you remember last year, the Driftwood had an outdoor tent where they had food and beverage outside. Well, that goes away next week, and would like to continue on having outdoor events, but the board needs to vote on that, so that might be coming before you next month. There is no prohibition currently about outdoor music, so he could have a band outside if the landlord permits it, but he can't have outdoor drinking, so that might be coming before you next month. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And that is the extent of my report, sir.
Thank you. I want to call on the Assistant Village Administrator, Andy, but before I do, I want to embarrass Andy one more time. Andy was our recent intern, and Andy was the winner of the Intern of the Year award. So thank you, Andy. Now with that, you're up.
After you've embarrassed me. All right, thank you. So all I have to report is this Saturday is the big day. This Saturday is the first ever Village Electronics Paint Recycling Day, as well as document shredding event. It will be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Village Public Works Facility, which is at 11308 West 70th Place, which for everyone, if you're not sure where that is south. If you go south on Wolf Road, it is right in between 294 and I-55. On Saturday morning, we will have a big sign up, so you shouldn't be able to miss it. And in order to drop off your materials, the only requirement is that you are an Indian Head Park resident. If you bring a vehicle sticker or your ID that shows that you're a resident, that's good to get in. And we are confident that we will be able to control the flow of traffic pretty smoothly, although at these kinds of events, there's always backups, there's inevitable things that arise that cause the process to go slower at certain points. So we ask for everybody's patience. But it should be a great day. It should be good for residents to be able to get rid of stuff that's been sitting in their garage for 10 years. And there will be free ice cream. SBC Waste Solutions will be bringing an ice cream truck as well. So drop off your electronics and your paint and get some ice cream.
And Andy, paint does not have to be dry or
paint,
full of
yeah, the paint does not need to be dry. Oil-based paints, especially, I don't know if they ever dry or if it takes them a long time. Your normal latex paints, you can put cat litter or dirt in them for the dry, and those can be picked up on your regular pickup day on Friday for the village, or for most of the village. And so yeah, no, you don't need to dry out the paint.
Thank you for setting all that up, Andy. All right, Department Head Justin in the back has been patiently waiting for his moment.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, we're looking forward to that too, Andy. It's going to be a good time. Ice cream. So, just a few things. We haven't had any water main breaks since February, so that's a good thing. Upcoming road work, GSB 88, the asphalt rejuvenator, scheduled for next week, weather permitting. That area is going to be Black Hawk Trail, Shabona, Pontiac, Tecumseh, Cochise, and Osceola. The road repaving, the project should go out to bid or be brought before the board. The engineer's estimating, mid-July, so construction sometime in September possibly. And those roads to be repaved would be Sequoia, Hiawatha, which includes some shoulder and ditch work, Indianwood Lane, Timber Ridge Court, Acacia Circle, and 65th Street. the Acacia Drive reconstruction has been kind of held up due to some NICOR conflicts. You know, everyone knows it should have been started already, but now they're estimating, sometime, by the end of July to actually start that process. And our public works crew has been working hard maintaining and beautifying the village. We've been doing some native plantings here and there. You don't really notice that they do kind of look like weeds, but they are native. You see some of the little white flowers, and there's some little orange poppies kind of popping up around. They're kind of native areas. Some of it we planted just kind of comes up green so far, and I'm going, what the heck? So, in the last 2 months, we've changed 4 water meters, and that's all I have.
How many trees did you guys plant, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, Don had the number.
Approximately.
Approximately 5 or 6. And then we're looking at doing some more smaller guys. Those were kind of bigger stuff that we had taken out, we replaced. So we're always planting and replanting.
Any other questions for Sean? Comments?
I have a question. Yeah. We're supposed to do some.
I think your microphone.
We're supposed to do some road sealing this year as well. I know particularly in Ashbrook, that's been promised. In what month are you looking to be able to do that?
So the road sealing, the GS88 asphalt rejuvenator, that's what we did in Ashbrook a couple of years ago.
He's talking about crack sealing, I think.
Yeah, the big alligator cracks in Ashbrook.
We got lots of cracks.
Yeah, so we've got some stuff. It's called Fast Patch on order. It's a seal for that. So Ashbrook is probably 26, 27 years old. So I think the
road's, I think, less than 5 years.
The road is?
Yeah, they replaced the entire road.
Oh, okay.
Dug it up, put some gravel in, did a less than satisfactory job of putting asphalt down.
Sure.
And they've had substantial patching there, and then we've got a lot of cracks as well.
We are doing crack sealing, though, later on this year.
There is some crack sealing, but for those bigger areas, we were going to be doing some patching in that area. Those were smaller patches.
We got lots of cracks. So what
And
month,
the crack
what
sealing
month do
would-
you think you're going to be looking at that, Justin? Do you have a sense of that yet?
This crack sealing, the fall, yeah. I think the Thomas was talking about that, bringing it up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have a question from asphalt to flowers. So you're talking about planting. Monarch butterflies are really having a hard time surviving. And I would encourage the village, I know I just got a packet of seeds. You can buy them in any store that include plants like milkweed and other things that the caterpillars live on, and then the butterflies use. So I think that would be a great idea if we could start planting some of those.
Yeah, just kind of throw them out and
Right,
see
yeah.
what happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks better than just a green dandelion,
Yeah.
So I agree. We'll look to try to do some more.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Okay. What? Oh. We are on to public comments. Lou, if you want to. If you do want to, please come to the microphone. Thank you, sir.
Roski, I'm from Bartlett Homes. I just want to thank everybody for voting in the shed ordinance. I really appreciate it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
Other comments from the, yes. Can you come to the microphone podium, please?
And state your name and address, please.
Melissa Allison, 167 Cascade.
Thank you.
Regarding ordinance 2021-08 water rate increase, I like the suggestion of Ms. French to knock on doors. So perhaps her and maybe the communications committee, as well as Trustee Dotsenberger, would like to knock on doors and alert the residents, maybe the elderly ones, that there's going to be a rate increase. Instead of putting it in smoke signals, that clearly Ms. French is convinced people don't read, so maybe you'd like to do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion for adjournment at
I'll second.
Thank you, Sean and Rita, and that's at 7:56.
So voice vote is okay now that we are live in person.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I was going to...
Huh? It was. Less than an hour. Wow.
I know.